This tells you how tough this game is and why we need golf instructors like you two guys. We have the Jordan Spieths, the Justin Thomases, in their even Sam Burns is only 21 years old. These guys aren't winning every week.
No.
So here comes a Phil Mickelson and now a Tiger Woods competing. Paul Casey wins. So it's the youngsters are not owning this tour just yet. So does that speak to what it takes to win on the PGA Tour?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's undeniably, extremely hard to win on the PGA Tour. But I think you also see it, where everybody thought the changing the guard was over. Tiger Woods is done. Yeah. Phil hadn't won in 4 years. Paul Casey's had struggles with injuries, et cetera. And these guys come back, literally 2 weeks later after Justin Thomas goes on a tirade and says, hold on, we're not done yet. We're not dead yet, essentially. And they've all shown that they can play. Even on the European Tour, you're seeing a lot. Justin Rose, not that he's an old-timer, but, he's on form better than anybody right now. So, yeah, I think everybody just kind of assumed, those guys, those 40-year-old guys are done. But they're, just proving that, no, that's not the case.
Well, what it's really showing is how big of a Masters this is really going to be. This might be the best Masters in 15, 20 years.
They're saying that the TV ratings could break the all-time record for the Masters.
What did you hear about this week? They said this is the best TV ratings of a non-major in 5 years, except for the Masters. But that's pretty impressive for a regular tour event, the Valspar out of all tournaments, being that big. So that's what he does to the game.
Let's look at a couple other players. We're talking about how the landscape has really changed just in the first 2 months of this year on the tour. Sergio Garcia, under the radar, very quiet recently, played very well, had one of the lowest rounds of the golf tournament. He had more birdies during the 4 days of this golf tournament than Tiger Woods did or Paul Casey, but he made a couple of more bogeys. Prepping for the Masters. We didn't have Dustin Johnson in this golf tournament. We did not have Rory McIlroy. Bubba Watson, I don't believe, was there. But this week at Bay Hill, we're going to see the field is going to be stronger. And I'm not writing off what Tiger Woods did. Now, Justin Thomas was not in the field this past weekend. It does change things, but that's why I want to watch Tiger this week. Hopefully, he'll play well there and doesn't disappoint because we expect him to make the cut.
Right,
everyone would. But I want to see him now do it but I want to see some other players coming at him.
Yeah.
Maybe some more top 10 players.
Right. And I mean, if you just look at it, these kids grow up idolizing Tiger. I mean, Patrick Reed had posters of him all over his room. He and Justin Thomas are very good friends. And they grew up idolizing, just dreaming of the opportunity to come down, 18 fairway against Tiger. So I think this is going to get them just that much more motivated that they actually have a chance to, fulfill, stare down Tiger on a Sunday. It's a lifelong dream.
Okay, we're here at Golf Tech Center in Metairie. It's on 17th Street, right behind the Flemings, the new Flemings Steakhouse. Golf Tech, newly designed, looking good. It looks twice the size it was before with this new design, the new colors. 2 hours of talking golf here in NOLA Golf Academy. Later on the show, Steven Schottmer, who is the tournament director for the PGA Champions Tour event in Biloxi. It's in a couple of weeks. You can go out there and see John Daly play some golf at the Fallen Oak, which is a golf course for Beau Rivage. Also on the program today, Amber Narrow, who is the editor for Backspin Magazine. It's a local digital magazine. If you want to know what's happening locally in the golf world, you can get a copy of that. We'll tell you how to do that later with Amber Narrow. And our video lessons. We're going to give you 4 video lessons today. Tiger Woods hit a lot of fairways with that 2-iron stinger, and our buddy Stephen Calamari is going to show you how he hits that golf shot. Also, you want to turn your slice into a draw. Stephen will give you that later. The little pitch shot will do that. And, of course, what's in the bag? What should you have in your golf bag? How many wedges? Should you have a hybrid, etc.? We'll cover all that on NOLA Golf Academy. Stay right there. We'll be right back. You're listening to ESPN New Orleans. And Robert, I have some other takeaways from this golf tournament yesterday, the Valspar Championship. Tiger Woods finishing second, one shot back of Paul Casey. We mentioned he's 40 years old.
Yep.
Phil Mickelson was not participating in this golf tournament. One of the takeaways I had was they clocked Tiger's swing speed. It was at 129.2. That is ridiculous numbers.
It's the fastest swing speed on tour in this entire year, but I believe in 2 years total.
And it seems every time I watch him take that swing, that I wince a little bit because I feel it's almost going to hurt me. But it doesn't seem to be bothering them.
Right. And, you know, I've had this conversation with a few people over the last couple of days, and my takeaway from it is Tiger is going to be the poster child for fusion surgery. I mean, he's gone through, 4 or 5 discectomies over the past couple years, doing nothing. There's been articles written, likening that discectomy to almost like a sugar pill effect. But he finally goes in, bites the bullet, and says, you know what, I just got to go in there and get that fusion. And comes back. I mean, he was bedridden, 4 or 5 months ago. Everybody sees the video where he was, obviously in so much pain. And now he's swinging faster than Rory McIlroy or Dustin Johnson or Bubba Watson ever have on tour.
And not to mention the ACL surgeries he's had, the fractured tibia that he went through. So, the list is long for Tiger Woods' injuries. But yesterday in the golf tournament, we said he did hit a lot more fairways. So it set him up to play well. Right? Kept him out of trouble, gave him an opportunity for more birdies. But to do that, he hits a 2-iron. And we all know the history of Tiger Woods with the stinger. Right. And it's on a rope. And it's so reliable. Right. And he went to it. This golf course Copperhead's not a very long golf course, so that's where that 2-iron comes into play. Let's go to the video tee now with Stephen Calamari. And Stephen, show us how, first of all, most of us can't hit a 2-iron. We don't have one in our bag. A lot of us don't even have a 3-iron anymore. So it's very difficult to hit, and Tiger Woods does it better than maybe anyone in the history of golf. How does he make it happen?
He was in his, 2000 to 2007 in that prime. His stinger that's everything he used. So he had the classic stinger 2-iron, the stinger 3-wood, and that's really what gets him in play. So the whole shot and the whole benefit of the shot is to get it in the fairway, and what most people do is their swing gets real loose. So to play the shot, the big thing is you definitely want to put the ball a little bit more back in the stance a little bit. And then all we're trying to do here is we're trying to cover the ball. And what I mean by that is we're trying to stay on top of the ball more, and we're trying to abbreviate our follow through to more, chest height or so. So if we keep it, I'll hit a shot here for us. So I'll play it back more in the stance, stay on top of it, and abbreviate it. And all I'm doing there is just hitting this thing no higher than tree line height, maybe a little bit lower than that. So for us that are seeing it on video, we're going to go through this. So if you want to go through this kind of slow motion here. So as you can see, as we go through real slow on the right hand, I got the ball more back. So keep going through this for me. So we're going to go a little abbreviated. And as I come through, I'm going to stay more on top of this ball here for those who are watching on video. And you can see right there, keep going, right here. And I'm going to stop a lot more abbreviated going through. So I'm not going to take a full follow through. So a lot of guys and what's the benefit of hitting this for at home for us amateurs is, let's say we're on a par 5 and there's water right, water left, and we're getting real loose with our swing. So if you just want to hit like a 6-iron or a 7-iron down the fairway to lay up, this is a great shot because it keeps it low. We could get more accurate with it. Same thing if we're playing into the wind. If it's a short par 4, we don't want to hit driver. Let's hit a 2-iron or even a hybrid or a 3-wood. Same thing. We want to play this shot, keep it out of the wind, and let it roll and release. And that's the whole benefit of the shot.
Yeah, and touching on what he's going on there, the name of the game is control. Tiger really debuted this shot when he started really competing at the British Open. When he's trying to control balls, he blitzed the field. He hit one driver, I think it was 04 or 05 British, where he blitzed the field and hit one driver the entire week. And that's all it is for us amateur golfers out there. It's about controlling your ball flight, getting the ball under the trees, not letting it be susceptible to all those different wind conditions, etc. And if you look at what Steven's really doing here, if you want to mock for the video, mock an impact position for me, where he's really covering that ball. Where his weight, you're going to see here, he's got that forward shaft lean, his hands in front of the ball at impact, hitting down, de-lofting that ball. The more he goes and keeps those hands in front with the abbreviated finish, the more he's able to really control that ball flight, keep it under the tree line. But also, if you go boom right there, if he can really control that ball flight, if he can keep his hands in front, that ball's never going to get away from him. And that's what Tiger's utilizing. He's really hitting down on it and controlling it. Amateur golfers, When you're laying up on a par 4, you got a short par 4, you got a short par 5, a long par 5 where you can't get home in 2, don't take the 3-wood out of the bag. Take a mid-iron, hit down on it, compress it, hit that flighted stinger. It's not going to get away from you because it's all about the third shot. It's not about that shot, it's about the next shot. So the more you can control it, the better off you're going to be.
Now, that technique and that body motion you're using, as you said, we could use, if you have a 3-iron in your bag, same shot. If you're hitting, if it's a long par 3, let's say it's 180 yards, and that's your 3-iron, and you need to keep it lower under the wind, that's the same shot.
Absolutely. And then even if you're 150 yards, let's say you're way up and you want to hit, let's say we hit a 6, 7, or even 8-iron, you could even play the same shot. So it's just, for most time, and like he was saying before, is with the hands leading, you're giving yourself a good opportunity to hit ball first. And that's what we're trying to do here, is most guys are hanging back, scooping, hitting it a mile high. They're hitting a lot of ground first. We're trying to create that ball contact first. So this allows us to do that, and it allows us to keep control, and it's worked well for Tiger Woods for 10 years.
Steve, let's see one. Let's see one. Give us ball flight. So you're going to hit a little draw here. How far we say it's going to go?
So for ball flight here?
Yeah.
This is a little 6. I'll say this will go about let's call it 185, 190 here.
185, 190, all right.
Okay.
Good. So, Steven's full 6-iron, we'll say it goes about 200. But so, yeah, he's taken, 10, 15 yards off. But that ball, looking at ball flight right now, I know we can't see it on video, that's about 6 feet offline.
186 carry.
There you go. And that's the idea, is he knows exactly what's going to happen. He's going to control that ball.
The pivot that you're doing there, if you were to teach let's say the high handicap golfer how to hit that shot, you probably are going to give them some good body motion just for their or all the clubs in their bag. And by that I mean you're getting on your left side. And most high handicap golfers don't see the left side to the degree that you're showing. But that could help their golf swing, right?
That's right. And then it's all about, getting the low point of the club to strike the ground in the same spot. So that, once again, if we're trying to get our hands in front slightly and keep the ball low, and by my weight staying slightly left, it allows me to hit down on the golf ball. Well, most amateurs don't hit down the golf ball. When they cup their wrists, hang back, they're swinging up on the golf ball. And that's perfect for the shot, not only for the stinger, but it essentially helps us out for our normal swings as well, because you want to hit slightly down on this golf ball. That's the key to hitting good iron shots.
Charlie, we chose this just for you. This is something you should be
I knew that was
standing
coming.
all day long just hitting this shot. Because
you notice I relate to the body motion.
Yeah. This is a textbook move for you, where you tend to hang back and get that little flip involved. You should be hitting stingers all day.
All right, guys, thanks. We'll be back in the lesson T next segment, and we'll cover how to get rid of that slice and turn it into a draw. I want a couple of more things about the golf tournament yesterday. The Valspar Championship. Patrick Reed, who hails from Baton Rouge, I believe it's University High, he was in a position to win that golf tournament yesterday a few times. He hit some really awful putts that you just don't see week in and week out on the PGA Tour, to be that far away from the hole. Or it wasn't even a misread. It was just not struck solid. The other thing about Pat, and by the way, and he has played well early, and I think he's really an emotional wreck. I think he really could. You could see the hyperventilation. He's trying to get his composure, and I don't think Patrick Reed is going to win a major or the Masters until he works on that a little bit. And the other thing about Patrick Reed is he could have left the red shirt, the black hat, and the black slacks in the closet yesterday. I know he's worn the red one in the past, but I think that maybe should have been Tiger's day yesterday, and he's not the most popular guy on the PGA Tour, Patrick Reed. If you go back to 2014, he won at Doral at the WGC, and he says, "You know what? I'm one of the top 5 golfers in the world," and he hadn't even played in a major yet. That didn't set right with any of the players on the PGA Tour, and it still doesn't to this day. I think he needs a little attitude check. I think he could use some coaching on the mental side of how to handle the pressure coming down the stretch to win any golf tournament. And he's won, 3 times on the tour, so he knows how to do that. Okay, we'll take a short break. When we come back, we're going to go back to the video tee and with Stephen Calamari, and we'll get how to shape that slice into a draw. All that next on NOLA Golf Academy on ESPN New Orleans. ESPN New Orleans Bracket Challenge served up by walk-ons. Go to the website ESPN1003.com. You can register, select your teams, and first place is walk-ons for life. Basically,
wow.
Yeah, I mean, did I say for life? No, let's rewind the tape. It's walk-ons for a year.
Okay, that's a little better.
That's a little better. Yeah. And then you get a large flat screen TV, 50-inch TV, and then last place is a 25, I guess a month of walk-ons.
It's not bad. So you get a meal a month. That's not bad at all.
I would think you could almost fill out a bracket to lose. How difficult would that be?
Just let me pick who I think is going to win, and that's going to be the winner right there.
So do that. Go to ESPN1003.com and register and fill out your bracket. Before we go to the lesson tee, Vegas now, the Masters odds Some of them have Tiger Woods as the third choice at 9-1.
It's pretty bold.
Well, he's tied with Jordan Spieth at 9-1. Of course, Dustin Johnson continues to be the favorite at 7-1. And Jordan Spieth, by the way, he didn't make the cut this past weekend at the Valspar. Not having a good start to the year. Does that make you a little curious?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't – if I'm placing a bet right now for the Masters, my money's nowhere near Jordan, even though, he's competed there the last 4 years. You're getting a steep price at, odds-on favorite essentially, and for a guy that can't make a cut right now on tour. His claim to fame, he doesn't do anything better than average besides putting. He makes everything he looks at, and right now he can't make anything. So if you take his putting away from him, I don't see him competing. So until he finds that flat stick, until he really, makes a lot of changes, not going to be there.
And doesn't hit it. He's average in distance on the tour.
He's average across the board in pretty much every stat besides putting. Where now he was above average, now he's below average. So that really, for me, takes him completely out of contention.
Interesting. We said Tiger Woods is 9-1 odds in Vegas. Justin Thomas is below Tiger at 10-1. How's that?
That makes zero sense to me.
All right, let's go back to the lesson tee with Stephen Calamari. The average high handicapper does hit a fade or sometimes a wicket slice on the golf ball. But, Stephen, you say that you can turn that slice into a draw.
That's right. So I would say, but I think it's actually stated, 80% of amateurs come over the top and slice it. So what do we see a lot in here is guys will come in here with weaker grips, which is most of the time their thumbs are down the shaft. So the weaker grips usually tend to have more open club faces. And what they do is, and what I'm going to do here is I'm going to hit a ball, and we'll look at ball flight first, those who are viewing on TV or video, and then we'll come back and review it. But what they're doing is they're getting their hands real high, and they're coming way across their body, which is swinging way left, and the ball with an open face, so it's starting slightly left or at the target and then having a big curve right. So we're going to hit a shot real quick and try to replicate that and then review it, okay? So let's set it up here. So we're going to basically swing right across my body here.
There you go. So go ahead and click continue, Pat. There we go.
Oh, wait.
He's too good. He can't slice.
Let's try it again. That one didn't. That wasn't a good one.
Yeah, but what we're looking at here while Steven hits another one, is that, not casting. Everybody casts, right? What is that? Coming over the top. That's what produces this slice where Steven's coming out across his body, and then now we're going to see this left to right ball flight. Typically, it spins a lot more. It doesn't go as far. It's not as consistent.
One more.
So what we want to see, third time's a charm there, Steve. And
so we have a pro that can't slice it?
Can't slice. He's too good.
No.
And we're just quantifying golfers. Golf Tech's done a study called the Swing True Study, where if you characterize traits of lower handicaps versus higher handicaps, one of the most marketable, trends is this slice for your higher handicap golfers. So what he's doing here, he's swinging left. He's coming across his body. How do we hit a draw? We're going to do the opposite. So everybody's heard, swing to right field, swing out. What does he need to do? Well, what we're going to work on here is watch how, in this original swing where Steven comes up to the top of the swing, watch how this club works outside away from his body, and then coming to the top, he's very steep, very Jim Furyk-X. And then coming down, this club comes out across that golf ball, causing that left to right spin. So what are we going to do here? Now we're going to fix it. So this is, every YouTube lesson, every golf lesson you've ever seen is all about what we're going to do. Steve, what are we going to do?
So, and remember, this is just a starting point, but basically what we see is with the weak grip open face, so what we'll generally do is strengthen the grip first, which controls club face. So we're almost looking to slightly get the club face shut to our path a little bit to overdo it just to get a feel for it. But so basically, if I'm going up and across, which is the old way, now a good drill is to really close your body up to your target. So you could, we call it the extremely close stance drill. So a good starting point is a little bit stronger grip, and then when I set up normal, I'm going to actually back my right foot up and close my body and shoulders to my target and just really, really get shut. And from there, I'm going to swing more inside out into almost right field is what it feels like. Okay, so I'm gonna actually hit a shot here. Let's see if I get this thing to curve. And this should have a pretty big draw. I'm kind of overdoing it here. Let's try this again here. That didn't read right, so let's do that one more time.
Might have to get a better guinea pig next week. Pressure's on. There we go. So now we're going to see a big hook here. And the idea is what's going on with Steven is we're showing, if we show him at the top of the swing, just a couple difference. By dropping that right foot back, what's going to go on is we now can see, go ahead to the video of Steven's swing. There we go. So with that right foot back, what we're doing is we're aligning everything of his swing to the right. So he's going to come more inside. Look at that club now underneath the line, behind him, and coming down again behind him. But since we strengthened that grip, we don't need to get into physics right now, Charlie. Closed face to path relationship creates that draw. So now that we've strengthened his grip, got that left hand more on top of the club, now we've got a closed club face. Now we've got a closed face to path relationship since we've moved that path more inside out, more typical to a better golfer. That's creating the draw, more distance, more consistency, higher flight, more like Tiger.
Someone said to me, was it you last week, when the tour players tried to fade the golf ball, the club face isn't open. It's more square.
Right. So with your
the path is
right. So
across.
What they're doing is, to efficiently create that, these guys have an inside out path naturally. So what they're going to do is keep that club face still square to their target, but they're going to move their path more like your 20 handicap, more like your slicer, move it more out to in across, which is going to create the open face to path relationship, which creates just the slice. Dustin Johnson's a guy that's really masterfully done this, where he, he's able to draw the ball. He hits at 350 already. Does he need 375? No. So he tries to hit that little fade, which gives him more control, but also he just controls that club face so masterfully.
Okay.
And that's how he's able to do it.
So with the draw, are we square at impact just coming from the inside?
Correct. That's a good way to look at it. If you have your path coming from the inside, say 3 degrees to the right, inside out, if your club face is now square to your target, it's closed. So you got a nice little draw. The ideal world, get some physics for you right now, is you want a path that is, say, 4 degrees to the right and a club face that is 2 degrees closed to that path. But the idea there is, though, as long as we're swinging to right field and we've got a strong grip, 9 times out of 10 we're going to create much more of a draw.
Okay, but if I want to, let's say, hook it, or strong draw, am I going to close the face a little, or am I going to come more from the inside?
It depends on what you're doing. Most of your guys, you're going to be able to do that from coming with a closed club face. It's just that much. That's why we come with the closed stance, dropping that right foot back. It makes it easier. I'm giving you a lot of room inside to swing inside to out. But for Charlie, you coming over the top, man, it's going to be really hard for you to get that path so far inside out. So if we can just strengthen your grip up to the point where it's much easier to close the face, create that relationship, now we're hooking it.
So am I hearing from you that if I can learn to control the club face, I can learn to control the flight of the golf ball?
Yeah, without a doubt.
Is it that simple?
Yes, it is. It really is. If you can, it's amateurs. When you get too wristy, when you get too handsy involved, you lose control of that club face. When you extend too early, cast, release, flip, anything, you lose full-on control of that club face. So if we're more Dustin-esque, where he's got that, flexed, almost crazy-looking left wrist, he's always got control of the club face. And that's why he's always hitting it pretty straight. So if we can, masterfully do that, and that's what we're really working on here, if we can control that club face, then we can control ball flight.
Yeah, but the one thing going on with Steve and yourself striking the golf ball, I don't care if it's a fade or a slice, on every shot he hits, his hands are ahead of the club face at impact.
Yeah, without a doubt.
If that's not there, it's going to be very difficult to get the club face where it needs to be.
Big time, big time. If you're not controlling that club face with your arms, with your body, and you're just extending, then yes, it is going to be pretty tough to control that club face.
Okay, so right now, the month of March, you can come out here to Golf Tech. It's on 17th Street behind the Lakeside Mall. You can sign up for a 20% discount. That's pretty strong, all the way through the month of March.
Yep, everything we got's between 10 and 20 off for the entire month.
So I can get a swing analysis. I can sign up for a plan.
Yep.
And What if I need a club fitting?
We can do that too.
It's all 20% off. Okay, when we come back, we're going to go to break. Steven Schottmer, he is the tournament director for the Rapiscan. It's the Champions Tour event right down the road, about an hour and a half away in Biloxi. It'll be March 23rd through the 25th. John Daly and some other, I was going to say flat bellies, but
nope,
that
not
wouldn't
flat
apply.
bellies.
Okay, stay right there. We'll be right back with Steven. Right after this break, you're listening to NOLA Golf Academy on ESPN New Orleans. Far left, Stephen Calamari. They are swing coaches here at Golf Tech. I had someone today was telling me, I just need a tune-up. Whatever that means, I'm sure you hear that a lot.
Yeah.
What do people mean when they say, I just want a little tune-up?
A little tune-up. They're looking for the quick fix. They're looking for the 10-minute lesson that says, this is what you need to do, and all of a sudden you're going from a 20 handicap to a 3 handicap. I'm still searching for it. If I find that quick fix, you probably won't be the first one to know Charlie, but you'd be in the top 10 for sure.
Now, we mentioned earlier that Phil Mickelson, 47 years old. He's like 3 years away from the Champions Tour, and it's going to be interesting to see when you get a player like Phil Mickelson's caliber, if he decides to play. I know Freddie Couples and there's a few that have played both tours.
Steve Stricker's doing it right now.
Steve Stricker for the first couple of years.
VJ.
I would expect certainly Phil Mickelson to play in the majors and maybe make a cameo appearance here or there on the Champions Tour. But we do have a Champions Tour event. It's with probably an hour to an hour and a half from everyone listening to this show right now. It's in Biloxi. It's at my favorite golf course in the region, Fallen Oak. Tom Fazio, my favorite designer. It's also part of the fabulous Beau Rivage Casino Resort. Let's bring in the tournament director. It's now called the Rapiscan Systems Classic. That's the name of the Champions Tour event at Fallen Oak. Stephen Schottmer, welcome to NOLA Golf Academy.
Awesome. Thank you guys for having me.
Welcome. Thank you for being here with us. And I mentioned John Daly. This isn't his first appearance at the Rapiscan, is it?
It is not. John has been in our field before, and we're certainly looking forward to bringing him back here next week for the 2018 Rapiscan Systems Classic.
Now, I've been to the event a couple of times, and it's unique in that I'm saying as far as the regular tour events or even some of the other Champions Tour events, and it's unique because of the setting. It winds through a national forest. To me, it smells and looks like an enchanted forest, so that's unique. But also with the Champions Tour, it seems like the players are a little more laid back until maybe Sunday when they're coming down the stretch and putting for a lot of money. But you can get very close to them on the tee boxes, walking down the fairway. So it is unique, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. And just to couple that here with just the Mississippi Gulf Coast feel, kind of that laid-back type of lifestyle, and it certainly transcends here to the golf course, just like you alluded to. All the guys are certainly accommodating with all the kids and the fans and the families to sign autographs and to interact, with all of our spectators here who grace the course at Fallen Oak next week. They certainly understand kind of the platform that they have, and then they love interacting with, especially the kids who come out, seeing these guys play, knowing that one day they may be able to follow in their footsteps. So yeah, these guys are great, and we're certainly looking forward to having them next week.
The setting is so nice. It would be just a great Sunday family outing. If you were going to go hiking, how much better a hike can there be than to watch tour players and walk through this beautiful golf course?
Yeah, I mean, without a doubt.
Nothing better. Like you mentioned, we're on basically the side of a national forest, so we have the 510-acre land, and you go up and down, like you said, strolling the fairways, and what more can you ask for?
Hey, I got a question for you. And you might not be able to speak to this on air, but it might be off the record. But it got to be some good stories from these guys at the casino, right? Yeah, I mean, got to be a lot of fun hanging out at the Beau Rivage for a week with John Daly. I mean, any insights you can give us into what goes on after hours after the tournament?
Yeah, well, certainly if you ask me this question maybe in 2 weeks' time, I have a better answer for you, knowing that these guys are all getting ready to make their way down to the coast. But yeah, you mentioned it. I mean, we're just probably 15 minutes or so, from the coast with all the casinos there on Highway 90. So there will be a lot of good stories, I imagine, here in the short near future. But they're certainly excited, and they will be amongst all the spectators here throughout tournament week. But we're certainly looking forward to it.
Stephen Schottmer is with us. He's the tournament director for the Rapiscan Systems Classic at the Beau Rivage Golf Course, the Fallen Oak. Stephen, you have, 30 of the top 34 seniors or players on the Champions Tour in this event. It seems to be popular. Bruce Fleischer, a friend of mine, played in it a couple of years ago. I went out there to see him. Is it the food? What's the hook to get these players? Now, I could see where spending maybe 4 days or 5 days at the Beau Rivage, maybe that's the hook.
Sure, and it's kind of a whole multitude. I think first and foremost is the course, like we mentioned earlier. Fallen Oak is one of the players' favorites. That's kind of the story year in and year out. Just how well it's manicured and how well it's kept up here on an everyday basis. And yet, to your point, we do have 32 of the top 36 players from last year's Charles Schwab Cup standing. 6 World Golf Hall of Famers, and a handful of former champions, including 2-time defending champion Miguel Angel Jimenez, coming back to try to make it 3 this year.
Now, Miguel Angel Jimenez, just for those that maybe can't picture him, he's the guy that showed up at every major. He wears the ponytail, right? The gray hair and the ponytail. But it seems like he was always on the front page of the leaderboard at least the first couple of rounds.
Yeah.
Right?
He's timeless at the Masters. Into his late 40s, it seemed like every year he'd be getting there. Guy's my hero, too.
Now, there's some other fan favorites. Rocco Mediate will be at this event. Colin Montgomery, Jesper Parnevik. I didn't even know Jesper Parnevik turned 50. He certainly doesn't look it.
Yeah, he's one of the notable amongst the other Golf Hall of Famers. We have Bernhard Langer, Mark O'Meara, Larry Nelson, Ian Woosnam, just to name a few. And our first timer here, we're looking forward to welcoming DJ Singh down to the Mississippi.
Oh, good.
He won his first individual event this past
That's right.
At the Toshiba Classic, and so we're looking to continue that run and welcome him to Fallen Oak.
Yeah, I don't know if Vegas has odds on the Rapiscan Systems Classic, but I would think that Vijay Singh would be maybe a 4-1 favorite in this event.
He would be probably at the top of the leaderboard, other than Miguel. You can't count out a 2-time defending champion. So, if anything, those two guys we're looking forward to having a great leaderboard come Sunday and put on a show here at Fallen Oak.
Stephen Schottmer is with us, the tournament director for the Rapiscan Systems Classic at the Fallen Oak in Biloxi, the Champions Tour event. Stephen, volunteering, if you haven't done it, if you haven't volunteered for a PGA Tour event, you really should give it a shot. This you talk about a pleasure to be around these tour players for these few days and watch this spectacular golf. So how can we volunteer for the Rapiscan Systems Classic?
Yeah, well, of course, we'd love to continue to grow our volunteer numbers. As you know, each tournament around the nation here on the tour requires the work of all the volunteers, and we wouldn't have a tournament without them. So they are invaluable to what we do here, day in and day out. But as far as signing up, we still have slots available. If you head to our website at rapiscansystemsclassic.com, and then you'll see a volunteer tab, and that will show information about that as far as signing up. And we'd love to welcome anybody over from your neck of the woods in New Orleans. We are looking forward to having y'all out, and we can always add more volunteers day in.
And we want to welcome you to the area. I know it's your first event with the Fallen Oak, and I know you're enjoying the food, right?
Oh, absolutely. It's been a great transition here, and just having the coast hospitality, and not to mention the food.
Okay, and New Orleans is right down the road, so you need to get out here and check out the city of New Orleans. It's the Rapiscan Systems Classic. It's March 23rd, 24th, and 25th. The Champions Tour events are 3 days, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It's an hour-and-a-half drive from the city of New Orleans. Get out there. It's a bargain as far as the tickets, and you will love walking the golf course. It's very easy to walk Fallen Oak. It's not a lot of terrain changes, and you will smell the magnolias, etc. It is a wonderful day. Okay, Stephen Schottmer, thank you very much, buddy. Good luck for this year's Rapiscan Systems Classic.
Charlie, thank you so much for having me. Look forward to seeing y'all out here.
All right, buddy. Thanks again. Okay, let's take a short break. Next hour, we'll go on a video tee once again with Stephen Calamari. We're going to check out what you should have in your golf bag and also maybe a little pitch shot. Stay right there. Second hour of NOLA Golf Academy up next on ESPN New Orleans. Tech Center in Metairie. If you haven't been out here, let's say the last couple of months, then you probably haven't seen the remodeling. Robert Emmett, swing coach here, Stephen Calamari to my far left. Tell us some of the things that you've done here at Golf Tech to enhance it.
So a couple things just kind of running you through, things that we can really point out there. Big added in LED lighting in every room. So now instead of just, normal, long panel lights, we've got LED lights where we can fully control the brightness in the room. What this does for us is allows us to now develop a higher end, higher resolution camera, higher frames per second, all that kind of stuff. So now we have the capabilities, along with pairing HD 4K monitors. Now we can get higher end cameras in here that Golf Tech's actually developing as we speak for our own. So now we're not looking at, frame one of the swing at the top, then jumping, a foot to the next frame. We can literally slow motion as, to the spec. So I could clean your 7-iron off and put a thumbprint on your steel shaft. And under our new cameras, you'll be able to see that thumbprint on the club. So it's adding that just degree of consistency. We'll be able to see everything, as well as adding a second monitor to the wall. Now you can see the two camera angles in front of you. You don't have to look on a monitor on the ground. It's twice the size, right in front of you. Much easier to see, much better for the customer.
Come check it out, Golf Tech in Metairie, 17th Street, right behind the new Fleming's Steakhouse. We're going to need to get them
we got to get them on board. They're getting plugged way too much.
A lot. But come out here. You have a 20% discount for the month of March. That's fantastic. But if you're looking to get new clubs, do not buy new golf clubs. Don't go online and buy them. Don't go over to the big box store and buy golf clubs. You need to get fitted first. They can do that here at the Golf Tech Center. And you can pick a plan. You want to take 6 lessons, a dozen lessons. You want to knock 5 shots off your game over the next 6 months. They can do all that, and they'll fit your budget as well. Tiger Woods yesterday. I mean, the whole sporting world is buzzing right now about Tiger Woods. I think even the casual golfer. I heard stories where in the press box, this Gus Kattengill was telling me that they were watching Tiger Woods during the Pelicans game. It was an afternoon 3:00 game. I had someone call in to the station, said they were getting married and they had it on. So the golf, the sporting world, not just golfers, is this. He's the big story, and it's not totally finished. I mean, we still have a ways to go. Obviously, the ultimate would be he comes back and wins 5 majors and beats Jack Nicklaus's record. But when I was thinking about Tiger Woods, his surgeries. He had 4 major back surgeries. He's had ACL injuries. He had a fractured tibia that he even won the U.S. Open at Torrey Pines when he beat Rocco Mediate with that fracture. Didn't know it at the time. So it's been chronicled, and it goes back even to 2002. There were some cysts in his knee, that same left knee, when he was a youngster. And then it flared up again, and even back in 2002, I think, is when it started all over again. But I was taken back to think of, everybody in sports loves a comeback. We just love it. And I was taken to another golfer who made an incredible comeback. And I don't know, maybe it was even, Tiger Woods can't even match this one. I'm speaking of Ben Hogan. We all know he's a legend. And in 1949, he was traveling down the highway in Texas where he lived with his wife, Valerie. And oncoming, and it was very foggy that night, oncoming was a Greyhound bus. Now, the millennials today may not know what a Greyhound bus is. It's a big bus, okay? It hit Ben Hogan's car, head-on collision. Ben Hogan leaned over to protect his wife Valerie from being injured. His He had a double fracture in his pelvis. His left ankle was shattered. He had chipped, cracked ribs. And they said he may not ever walk again. He almost died from the blood clots in his legs, etc. during this time. But Ben Hogan came back a year later. This happened in February. Ben Hogan came back the next year, a year later in June, and won the 1950 U.S. Open. Now, I don't know if there's even a bigger comeback in sports history than what happened with Ben Hogan. And then he won a few more after that. Incredible story. Tiger Woods may not be up to that level, but certainly to come back, who knows? He could win the Masters in 3 weeks. I said on the Sports Hangover last week, Gus Kattengell said, do you think he'll ever win another major? I said, if he does, I think it'll be soon, and I think it'll be the Masters. And I think it'll be the Masters because of the golf course and the other. Not that he can't play they rotate the venues at the other majors, and he's played all those obviously in the rotation, so he knows them, but not quite. He just loves and owns Augusta. So would it shock me to see Tiger Woods win the Masters in 3 weeks? No, it wouldn't shock me. And especially from what I saw yesterday, he's looking fit. It doesn't look like he's favoring anything in his golf swing. He certainly has the highest swing speed on the tour, and he's always had that mark. But to watch him manage the golf course, he's focused, he has the desire, and he seems to have a little better temperament. And I don't think this is Tiger Woods. I said this last week. I don't think we're seeing the Tiger Woods who wants to crush the competition, or he wants to beat Phil Mickelson's ass. Okay? I think we're seeing a Tiger Woods who wants to win for Tiger Woods. That's different. But I'm not saying that's any less desire. As a matter of fact, it may be even more desire, where he could look in the mirror just a year and a half, 2 years ago after the surgeries, and think he may not ever play again. So I think his purpose and having something to prove, being the greatest player in the world, is something. I think his purpose now is just to make this comeback and win again at the highest level.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's really just kind of at peace with himself. I think, previously when Tiger was on top, he always had to prove that he was on top. He had to prove, not only to himself, but to his dad, to, everybody else, that he was the best. And I think now, he's come to terms and settled that, times have changed. He's a different golfer now. He's a father. He's a family man. And I think it's really showing on the golf course. He's playing more within himself. Yeah, he knows he can hit at 330 still, but he also knows, that's not my game anymore. I can't sustain doing that anymore. So what is he doing? He's going to find another way to win. Yesterday, I think, was a great testament of that. On, Tiger in 2005, what are the chances he's playing the hardest hole on the golf course? He's one shot back on the 72nd hole, and he's laying up with a 2-iron off the tee, leaving himself a 4 or 5-iron, knowing he has to make birdie. No, he's going to take driver out. He's going to try and bang it as far down there as he can. And yeah, maybe when he was 27 years old, he can do it. Know he's going to hit the fairway. Know he's going to hit a wedge. Know he's going to make birdie. But now he knows, he's wiser. He's been there, done that. He knows 4 times out of 8, 5 times out of 10, he's going to hit that driver in the tree. So what does he do? He takes out the 2-iron. He lives to fight another day. He gives himself a putt at it because he just proved he made a 44-footer on the last hole. That's maturity. So I think, now that he's come to peace with that, now he's going to know, he's going to learn how to win a different way. He's going to have to learn to win the quote-unquote right way. And I think, maybe we'll see that sooner rather than later.
Well, he's going to manage his time a lot differently. I don't think you're going to see as many endorsement sponsor commitments just to make a gratuitous appearance,
right,
so to speak. I think you're going to see him as he's doing right now. He's just getting in game shape. Right now, he's in training camp, and for this Masters, you're going to see where he's playing the majors. You'll see where he's going to basically get his game tuned up a few weeks before, so a little different schedule. Okay, let's go to break. When we come back, Stephen Calamari is going to get on the lesson tee, and we're going to hit a little pitch shot. Really, you can make up a lot of ground if you have a good short game, especially a pitch shot, especially on the par fives, where you just come up short on that second shot, and now you've got a 50-yard. You got to put it close to get the birdie. Stephen Calamari will do that next here on NOLA Golf Academy. You're listening to ESPN New Orleans. Saturday, the 28th, 3 hours each day. Gus Cattengill will be doing the Sports Hangover Show on Thursday and Friday, and we'll be out there Saturday. We were out there last year.
Right.
And nothing greater than doing a radio show from the Acme Oyster House Pavilion with all that great food.
That was my next question, is if you got your venues yet. I mean, y'all don't slum it. They put you in Champions Club and Acme, so it's not like you're slumming.
They all have food.
Oh, yeah.
So
that's one thing you can guarantee.
One's as good as the other, I guess. So we'll be out there to cover the Zurich Classic. 9 hours of coverage. Pretty exclusive for ESPN New Orleans to give you that much.
Yeah.
And we'll be out there crossing our fingers once again, Robert, for the weather.
Yeah.
Do we know anything just yet about? Or is it too early?
We do. I mean, I'm not going to spill the beans too much, but we announced Sergio and Rafa Cabrera Bello last week, as well as Bubba and Kuchar.
Yeah.
You're about to, 8 of the top 10 in the world, I believe, was the number so far.
Yeah.
So the field's going to be stronger than it's ever been.
And who knows? Tiger Woods could show up if he's got a few close friends. If one of them can convince him, this would be a tournament for him to come and just kind of kick back and relax.
Show the new Tiger. Show that he can relax and have fun on tour.
Boy, would that
That'd be something.
Maybe you won't find a parking place if that happens.
No. The Tiger effect would be in full swing.
Yeah. Okay, let's go to the video tee box with Stephen Calamari, and we're going to cover a little pitch shot. It's so you ever play with good golfers? I played with Robert. I play with a lot of good golfers, top amateurs here in the city, and there's nothing sweeter than to see them hit a little 50-yard pitch shot and just knock it, 2-3 feet from the hole. It's just a beautiful thing to see. And you talk about save some strokes. I don't care if it's in the middle of the fairway or even in the rough. When you can do that in your golf game, you're going to shoot some lower scores, right, Stephen?
That's right. So just going through some shots here. So we're going to hit, like your basic 30 to 40-yard shot. So let's just say we're going to go over 2 different shots here. So I'll go over the first one. Let's say you have a pin that's all the way in the back, and I would take more, let's say a gap wedge or sand wedge, and how to play that is, so I want to control my spin. So I want it to kind of maybe bounce once, twice, and kind of check up on me. So how to do that for a pitch is I'll play the ball somewhat in the middle to middle back, and what I'm going to do here to do that, I'm going to maintain a little weight forward with a little bit of speed, and I'm going to abbreviate my follow through. So the shorter my arc is coming through, the more control I have over this shot as far as spin goes and height. And then we're going to go over another shot too, but let's go over this first one here. So if I play it a little bit middle and back, and then I have just a little mid follow through here. And that's what we're looking at to do here. So as we go through the shot here, middle of our stance, and I'm gonna abbreviate my follow through here with a little bit of weight forward, and that's gonna, like I said, have a little bit more spin to the ball where I can control it, and the trajectory is a little mid trajectory here. So keep going through here, and right there. So now that's how I'm gonna control my spin for that shot. So now let's go to live here. So now let's say I have a pin that's more in the front of the green, so we're 30, 40 yards again, and I'm trying to get the ball higher and softer, so I don't need to play a lower shot. So what I'll do is, same thing, I might play my lob wedge or sand wedge and open it up just a little bit, and as I play it in the middle of my stance, my arc is going to get longer, and I'm going to kind of let my arms kind of fold up a little bit like that, and it's a higher, softer shot. Tiger actually played a lot of this really well this week, and that's one thing that's happened well with him. So here we go here. So I'm going to put it in the middle of my stance, a little open face here, and I'm going to be a little bit longer and let my arms kind of slightly fold up, not as wide of an arc. So let's play through this real slow here. So as we go, ball is in the middle, open stance a little bit, and as I come through here, you're going to notice my follow through is a lot longer and my arms are just kind of folding up. They're not as straight as in front of me, and that's going to allow a lot higher and softer shot, which is what we all need. So that's when that pin placement's middle to front, that's when I'm going to hit that shot mostly.
Yeah, and benefits here, just kind of talk you through a couple buzzwords. Everybody's heard of, the flop shot. Everybody wants to be Phil Mickelson. You don't have to open up that face and swing as hard as you can to hit the flop shot because, Charlie, come on, we all know we're going to blade it or chunk it. Everybody's not Phil. And this offers you an opportunity to be able to put some spin on that golf ball, be able to hit the high and soft shot without just exposing 80 degrees aloft, taking out the 64-degree wedge or what have you and laying it open. This is a shot you can hit, from the middle of your stance, slightly open, but you're letting the club do the work for you. You're letting the loft of the club do the work. You're still compressing it. You're still swinging through. You're just controlling the ball flight by your arc length. So just the opposite, you ever heard of hinge and hold, where you hold on to that angle through impact. That's what he's hitting in that first shot. That's what's able to let him hold on to that angle, abbreviate the finish, which is going to put a little less spin on the ball, which is going to let it kind of hop and stop. From here, it's all about club selection. You've got two very simple shots. You're never swinging full. It's just this nice, concise shot. Now we've got, typical people, just getting into a little bit of the next segment, 3 to 4 wedges in the bag. So now we've got these two finishes to control spin. So Steve will go, just like he said, he's got a pin in the back. He's got some green to work with. Maybe he'll take his gap wedge out, his 52-degree wedge, and he'll let it roll out a little bit more, taking the big, catastrophe out of play. It's a game of misses. You got to manage your misses. And this is what, two very simple shots are going to take the 6s and the 7s and the 8s off the scorecard. Make it just simplify the whole process for you.
So, and then going back to that as well, is with most people, if we say pitch shots, your average amateur thinks, oh, pitch shot right off the green. So chip, and just to be clear with everyone, chipping is right off the green where you're trying to get the ball very low and let it roll as fast as possible. So this is backing it up. So Dave Pellis says there's a lot of guys, there's two basic average misses where most guys miss it only 10, 15 yards off or 30 yards. So we're talking about the 30 yards where it's a little bit higher and a little bit more room between you and the green. That's what a pitch is compared to the chip. So I just wanted to clear that up because a lot of people think pitching and chipping is the same thing. So
and this pitch shot, I'm noticing there's not a lot of pivot in your lower body. Are you purposely keeping it quiet, and then why wouldn't there be a big hip turn or a driving of the legs?
Of course. So yeah, I'm not trying to. I'm trying to stay very balanced. So my weight is. So let's say for a chip, perfect example. For a chip, I'm more. I would say 70% on my left side, and for a pitch, I'm more 50 to 60% kind of center to a little bit forward. And so I want to create a quieter motion and let the club kind of do the work. And as opposed to the more I move, the more, and we see it here all the time, is guys they sway. So they move all over the place. So the more I move back and I'm turning and I'm literally moving off of the ball to my back foot, half the time we hang back and most amateurs are trying to scoop it up with their wrist, and then boom, there you go, fat shot. You lay inside over the ball moves 5 feet. And we see that so much here.
Keyword, let the club do the work. The more you move off the ball, the more your body is moving, you're fighting the club. The club's built to do this shot for you. Get out of the way. Just stay still, let the club do that work. You're going to be more consistent. You've got several wedges in the back. Pick the right one for the right shot, and that's where you're going to be more consistent. And it's still you have a light grip on that club too, Stephen, right?
Absolutely. The lighter the grip, and we say, like, if there's a bird in your hand, you don't want to squeeze it to kill it. You want to hold it just tight enough to not let it go. And that allows for the club to do the work. So many times, 9 out of 10, 10 out of 10 grip pressure, the harder you grip the club cannot do the work. And that's what we see so much of is if I grip it really, really hard, the club can't just move through the ball. I have to force my body to do it. Then you see guys hitting it thin or picking their body up. Everything. So the lighter the grip pressure, I can let the club head swing through naturally, and that's what's going to allow for the softer shot, and that's how you gain feel around the greens, especially. When you grip it hard, you cannot have feel around the greens, and that's so important to have that. So.
But let's not confuse this. If you say let the club head do the work, it's not that you're just letting it go and flopping down. No. You still have to swing through the ball, don't you?
Yeah. That's right. So you still have to have somewhat of speed, and just like when we say swing the club, as I'm going through with some decent speed, letting the club head kind of skip through the grass like that, as opposed to gripping it really, really hard, and just I'm like throwing my body way past it, or I'm hanging back like that. That's what we mean by that. So, but yeah, there's definitely rotation in this, but I'm still, for the most part, very quiet with my lower body, though.
I hear a lot of golf instructors say that the backswing mirrors the finish, or the finish mirrors the backswing, meaning if you take it hip high going back. You're going to finish hip high in the follow through. Do you subscribe to that?
Yes and no. So it depends on how far the shot is too. So if I want to hit it a little farther, I might follow through a little bit longer. If I want to hit it higher, I might have a little bit longer of a follow through. But generally, if we're hitting that average pitch shot, which is about 30, 40 yards, I might only take it waist high to waist high. So it's a great way of starting. It's a good starting point, and then work your way from there as far as distance goes.
Okay, let's go to break. When we come back, we're going to put a golf bag in front of you, Stephen, and let's kind of go through that bag and what you would recommend for the average high handicapper. What club should they carry? Should they have a 2-iron like Tiger Woods to hit that stinger when they need to? Or should they have 4 wedges? Should they have a hybrid? We'll cover that with Stephen Calamari on the video tee here on NOLA Golf Academy. When we come back, you're listening to ESPN New Orleans.
A lot more than just a good time.
Flat screen TV, go to ESPN1003.com. You can register right there. Just click on the walk-ons banner and complete your registration. Go in there and select your teams and compete over the course of the tournament. And let's see if you can win some walk-ons for a year.
Let's have a side bet.
And You can go on and register, Robert.
No, just me. We're going to go both
Okay,
register, but I want my card versus your card.
You fill your bracket, I'll fill mine, and we'll see how it all works.
It's got to be for something now.
We got a Fleming Steakhouse right across the street. You knew that. You just.
I'm in.
Boy, did
I'm
he
in.
just
I reeled you in.
me in on that one. I saw that coming. But do that also. Are you a WrestleMania Raw fan?
I can be.
Well, if you like.
They're coming, right?
They're
WrestleMania
coming. WrestleMania 34 coming to the Superdome.
Is ESPN New Orleans going to be there?
ESPN New Orleans will be there. Jason Trosclair Pepito, of course, who is our WrestleMania guru here at ESPN New Orleans, will be there. But if you want to win tickets, you can go to ESPN, listen to the Sports Hangover Show with Gus Cattengill every day between now and March 20th. And we're going to take 10 qualifiers. We already have 4. We have 6 to go. And you'll be your name is in the hat, and then we're going to pick 2 winners. Each winner gets 2 tickets, 2 premium tickets to go to WrestleMania. And these tickets, they're over $400 a piece. These are good tickets. So tune in tomorrow, Gus Cattengill. I think I heard today that they're going to give another qualifier, take another qualifier tomorrow in the 3rd hour of the Sports Hangovers. So between 2 and 3 o'clock, tune in. You'll hear Jason Trosclair, Gus Cattengill. They usually do some trivia or whatever for you to qualify. So do that tomorrow and get your name in the hat for WrestleMania 34 at the Superdome. I believe it's April 8th. Yep. And by the way, we'll be at Walk-Ons on Poydras Street on Thursday. Here's another one for you. If you like WrestleMania, we're going to be giving away some SmackDown tickets. Gus Cattengill. Well, I don't know if I'm supposed to say that. But, yeah, we're going to give away some tickets at Walk-Ons to go see SmackDown, which I believe is the Tuesday after WrestleMania on Sunday. And a lot of folks enjoy that as well. So free tickets there, lots. We love wrestling at ESPN New Orleans. We love golf. We love wrestling.
You look like a WWE
We
guy.
love soccer. I was in it. I got into it when The Rock was at his peak.
Yeah.
That's when I enjoyed watching. The Rock was awesome.
He
was one of my favorites.
I like watching not so much the wrestling, but when they're going back and forth talking, man.
And Steve Austin was
they
was
come
one
up
of
with
mine.
some stuff.
So, okay, let's go back to the video tee with Stephen Calamari, and let's kind of go through the golf bag, Stephen, and give some recommendations on what a high handicap. When I say high, let's say 18 and higher, what a typical bag would look like as far as the club selections and what they need in that golf bag or what would be useful to them. So, you don't want a 2-iron sitting there and you never touch it. Let's replace it with something. So what do you think?
Yeah, so let's start with wedges first, okay? So, you hear it. Some guys carry 3-4 wedges. So let's start off with the wedges first. So just for everybody, most pitching wedges this day and age are 45 degrees. So generally, it depends on the guy. So let's say a higher handicapper, he needs a lot of distance. So he might only carry his pitching wedge, maybe a gap wedge, and maybe a sand wedge. So he might want more hybrids and longer clubs, which we'll get to here in a second. But for some golfers, and I'll just go off of mine, for instance. So I got 4 clubs. So let's just say my pitching wedge, which is bent to 45, you want to space your clubs out 4 to 6 degrees, generally 4 degrees, but let's say 4 to 6 degrees. So for me, I have a gap wedge, a sand wedge, and a lob wedge. So I went pitching wedge, which is 45 degrees, and then my gap wedge is 50, so that's 5 degrees. Then I'm going to go 54 degrees for my sand wedge, and then 58 for my lob wedge. So that spaces me out to where, and the reason why spacing is so important is, let's just say my pitching wedge, I hit it 140 yards, but my gap wedge only goes 105, 110. That's 30 yards you have, and most guys are not going to be able to hit those 3/4 shots really, really well. So that's why gapping is so important.
Right. So, the idea here is when you get your pitching wedge, everybody knows is the new set. They're going farther because the lofts are stronger. Yes and no, but yes. And so the idea, we need to get if our pitching wedge is now between 45 and say 43 degrees, go into the classic old school, gap wedge or sand wedge at 52 to 56 degrees, all of a sudden we've got 7 or 8 degrees between clubs. That's 2 clubs. That's a lot of yardage. That's 30 yards most times. So the idea, we got to look at your clubs, know what pitching wedge you're getting, know what set you're getting, and then gap them. Look at them. Say, okay, I've got a 55. How do I do this? Now I have a 45. Now I need a 50. So now I've got, a club, we'll just throw out yardages. We're hitting 130 with the pitching wedge. Yeah. And then now we've got the 50 degree. We hit 115 to 120. Mm-hmm. Now we go to a 54 or a 58. You try and keep those 4 to 5 degrees between them. What you see too often with amateurs is, they've got a pitching wedge, and then they're terrified of the lob wedge. I can't hit a 60. I can't hit a 58. So they'll have a pitching wedge at 45, and then they'll jump all the way to a sand wedge at 55. Well, now you've got 40 yards in the bag. You've got no idea what to hit, and that's a lot of scoring clubs. It's your scoring clubs. So you're sacrificing a lot right there as opposed to just getting that gap wedge, filling that bag out, and then you're going to be ready to roll. From there, going into irons, Steve over here with his blades, but, common set makeup. Talk us through some irons, man.
So once again, it all depends on handicap. If you're higher handicappers, and we strongly advise them to do this, is go to hybrids, okay? So I have 9 iron through a 4 iron as my irons, and then I jump into a 3 hybrid. What we get mostly here is guys, we'll tell them, because not too many guys are going to hit 3 irons or 2 irons like you were saying earlier, Charlie, but hybrids are a lot easier to hit. You could hit them higher. You could hit them out of the rough. You can't hit a 3 iron out of the rough. So they're a lot easier to hit. So we'll get people in 3 hybrids, 4 hybrids, even 5 hybrids. I have some of my older guys here. They'll go all the way to a 6 hybrid and start at 7 iron. So it's all preference on what you want to do. But hybrids are really great, and it's a way easier to hit longer shots and not be petrified of looking at this thing that looks straight down because there's no loft on the club.
Right, and one of my favorite quotes in golf, I'll use this a lot in fittings, Lee Trevino talking about a 1 iron and a 2 iron. Only guys that could ever hit him are God and Jack Nicklaus. Yeah. And it's the same way when you get into a lot of 4 irons and stuff. Guys that aren't playing a lot, they take practice to learn how to hit. So you're going to dread them, you're going to avoid them, and all of a sudden now we got another hole in the bag. So let's go. Why don't we get a 4 hybrid, even a 5 hybrid in a lot of cases? They're so much easier to hit. Just talking through the technology in hybrids, what you're seeing a lot is, as we talked about earlier, 80% of your golfers slice the golf ball. Those hybrids are made with a slightly closed club face to stop slicing. They make you stop slicing. So your bad golfers, not bad golfers, your average golfers. I didn't mean to insult you, Charlie. And your average golfers are, they look to those hybrids much more because they're so much, more forgiving. They take away from that slice. You hit them farther, you hit them straighter, and it's just a better option.
Yeah, 3 iron has almost become a dinosaur with the manufacturers as far as the set, an iron set.
Right.
They've taken the 3 iron out completely with that to, like you said, so you can put the hybrid. Excuse me if I missed this. But what's the range on the hybrids? And would you have 2, 3? Is there, as far as the lofts?
Right.
Before you get to the 3 wood.
Right. So it all depends.
Or after the 3 wood.
Yeah. So your 2 hybrid conventionally is going to be about 17 degrees. A 3 wood conventionally is 15 degrees.
Okay.
So if we're just going off what we're talking about with the wedges, that 4 degrees of separation, you're going to go 3 wood at 15 degrees. A 3 hybrid typically is going to be 19 degrees. So we've got, 3 wood, 3 hybrid, 4 degrees apart, 4 hybrid around 23 degrees. And then getting into, this is where the decision is made, do we need a 5 iron or do we need a 5 hybrid? Your sacrifice, they're just talking about what you give up versus what you gain. You gain the forgivability. You gain the higher ball flight. You gain the consistency. But now all of a sudden, if the lowest iron in the bag is a 6 iron, sometimes you can't hit the ball as low. You're not going to be able to hit it under trees. So that's when you go in and you look at what kind of course you play. Where are you in a tree line course? Are you in a wide open course? Are you in a course where you're going to have to hit a lot of punch shots? Maybe you want a 5 iron in the bag. Even though it's harder to hit, you're going to get more rewards out of having that lower shot capability. And that's when you really got to sit down and do the due diligence of making up the set, not only what's easiest to hit, but also what suits the game and where you play.
I don't want to. We want to stay in the bag. I don't want
Yeah.
to get into a swing mechanic. Just give me an answer on this. The golf swing with a hybrid, is it much different than if I'm swinging my 5-iron?
No, I want you, simply put, no. We want you to make the same swing with a 5 hybrid than you would with a 5-iron.
Okay.
It's, you don't want to get too far, and they're
Okay.
still built for you to hit down on them. Just the biggest technologies is getting rid of the slice, and that's what we need with these hybrids. Getting into the rest of the bag, Steven here, he's going to, we're going to move into woods now. And talk me through what you got going on the top end of the bag.
So for a fairway wood, like he was saying, so 15 degrees is generally the standard 3-wood, but so you have 2 other options for 3-wood. So let's just say you only have one fairway wood, and by the way, we're going off of you can only have 14 clubs legally in the bag, although we sometimes see guys with 19. But if you're playing in a tournament, 14 is the number of clubs you could have in your bag. So let's just say a guy wants one 3-wood. A lot of guys, higher handicappers especially, we could even do, like I said, 15 degrees is standard. We could do a high launch, which is more of 16 degrees. So that gives you just a little bit more loft. So those of you who are scared of the 3-wood and hit it low, get a little bit more loft, but still yet have the distance of your 3-wood. And that's where we're kind of, and that all depends on, like I said, the guy and the handicap as well. And then for the driver, so with the driver here, so what we look for is to get shafts matched up to your launch angles, and so spin rate. So most your average golfers, and I know everybody sees this at home a lot, is you have 9 degree, 10.5 degree, 12 degree. Everybody's like, well, which one do I play? I don't know what to do. So it all depends on like how you approach or how you hit a shot. And what I mean by that is the club swinging too far down on it? Are you swinging too far up on it? So that's kind of where we start. So an average loft to a driver or a launch angle we're looking for that's optimal is around 14 to 15 degrees of launch. So then with the shafts, you have senior flex, or I should say ladies flex, senior flex, regular flex, stiff, and extra stiff. So what that is, it all has to do with swing speed for the most part. And so let's say I got a 25 handicapper who might have a 80 miles an hour swing speed. Generally, I'm just generally speaking here, they'll probably be in a regular flex. And what that is, it's a little bit flimsier. That way, because their swing speed is not so fast, the club head could catch up to the golf ball and the head is not lagging behind too much. Those who have, let's say I got a guy who has a 115 or Tiger Woods 129 this past weekend, if he swings that fast with a regular shaft, the shaft would almost break and the ball flight would just be all over the place. So that's what we're trying to match, the right flex with the right launch angle on the driver, and that's what we have to do to get optimal ball flight.
All right, Stephen, thank you very much for that. Look inside the bag. We're going to come back and speak to Amber Narrow, the editor of Backspin Magazine. It's a local, statewide, region-wide, it even goes into Mississippi, the digital publication, and we'll get the details from Amber on that. Next, stay right there. You're listening to NOLA Golf Academy live from the Golf Tech Center in Metairie on ESPN New Orleans. beautifully indoors, climate controlled. We don't need sunblock. We don't need mosquito repellent. We can sneak away from work and nobody will ever know when we go back. That's what I love about Golf Tech. Come check it out. 20% discount on all their plans throughout the month of March. Club fitting and swing analysis and their standard plans, whatever. Get out here. See Stephen Calamari, Robert Emmett, Patrick Malone, the 3 swing coaches here at Golf Tech on 17th Street between Severn and Causeway, right behind the Fleming's new steakhouse. NOLA Golf Academy, it's all about improving your golf game. It's all about promoting this great game of golf for those that do play, for those that would like to take the game up, just like Golf Tech.
Mm-hmm.
There's a publication. It's here in the New Orleans area, and it's operated by Amber Narrow, who's the editor, Jake Narrow, who's the publisher, husband and wife team. They're based out of Hammond, and this is a beautiful publication. It now is more digital. At one time, it was on print. And let's bring the owner in now, the editor, Amber Narrow. Amber, welcome once again to NOLA Golf Academy.
Thank you for having us again. We appreciate it. Jake is actually in Dallas with the golf team at Southeastern right now, so all you get from me tonight.
Okay. Well, we love that, and we love Jake also. But this publication, what's so nice, I think it was about 3 nights ago, all of a sudden I get an email on my phone, and there's Backspin Magazine, and all I have to do is just click on the link. I think it said March 2018, and then I just flip through on my smartphone right through the pages, and I don't. Do you print this magazine anymore?
We do not. One of the things that we found when Jake actually started coaching the golf team at Southeastern was that we just didn't have the time to deliver it to the facilities as we did before. And we thought about closing it down and just kind of
Well, you have some nice feature stories. There's golf instruction, which is certainly critical in these type publications, some nice columns, and of course, I love the emphasis on junior golf and covering those activities. So you're committed to the local area.
That's the PGA mantra, PGA of America mantra is that they want to grow the game. So it starts with kids and it ends with them. So we do a lot of focus on junior golf. Now, obviously, there is a lot in there for our adult golfers as well, or our more seasoned golfers.
Mm-hmm.
We've got the rule 10 aspect as well as the hole-in-one and, of course, upcoming tournaments and events. We do publish a lot of the tournament results, and we do that all for free for our local courses. And we definitely want to promote events and activities that are going on in the area. So anytime any club or organization has anything about an upcoming, especially a charitable type event, we love putting those things in the publication and trying to support our charity events because we know we have a ton of them in the area and they're all competing for attention. And we just, if they send them to us, we will at the very least give them some Facebook exposure with our followers there. But if we have time and it's timely for the publication, we'll get it in there as well.
Okay, Amber Narrow is with us, the editor of Backspin Magazine, a digital publication. I'm going to give the phone number out now, 985-320-5500. That's 985-320-5500. You can give Amber a call if you have some information you'd like to give her about either your organization, your golf tournament coming up. You want to advertise in Backspin. It's a beautiful publication that the colors are so vivid. Or if you'd like to find out how to get a subscription where once a month, right there in your email, just flip it on. There it is.
Yeah, and the subscriptions are free. So we do provide that free of charge to all of our subscribers. So we're excited about that, to be able to just send it straight
2 minutes.
and not have to charge for that. Like I said, we have some great advertisers who stuck with us through the digital transition and stayed with us. We do provide health information every month that's timely. We always look at what's going on in the PGA, see what their current injuries are and what's going on, and try to do a physical therapy thing with them, and that's sponsored by Punchtool Therapy. So they've been with us since the very beginning. So we've got some great advertisers who have really stepped in and supported the publication and kept going with us. So we like to highlight those guys as well. It's just an opportunity for us to really kind of promote golf in this area because it's a huge thing for us here in the South. We have a year-round golf season, so it's really nice to be able to continue that publication 12 months a year.
And Amber, you and your husband Jake Narrow, you're perfect for this publication. I know you have the journalism background, and Jake Narrow is a PGA member, very good player. Did he play in the Zurich Classic one year? Or
he's played several times in Missouri.
Yeah, there you go.
Also in the tournament in Mississippi. I actually caddied for him in that event, by the way.
Awesome.
And that was a nightmare.
But my point there is that you're qualified to be doing this, and we all know the passion and the skill level of Jake Narrow, and if you go through and read this publication, you'll see exactly that. Amber, thank you very much for being with us. Amber Narrow, the editor of Backspin Magazine, and they can go online and subscribe?
Absolutely, backspinmagazine.com.
So it's backspinmag.com?
Yep, or they can go to magazine and they'll be shifted there.
There you go. Amber, thank you very much. Let's do this often. Okay, I appreciate your time.
Would love to.
All right, tell Jake hello for us.
Will do.
Okay, that's Amber Narrow, editor of Backspin Magazine. Check it out. It's I love what they've done with it. It's only been out. I think they've only had it for about maybe it's the third year now, but they do a very nice job with it. How excited are we for the game of golf right now as we look at what's happening with Tiger Woods, the Phil Mickelsons. We have the Masters only 3 weeks away. And you know what? The Bay Hill this next weekend is one of the better tournaments to watch on TV. It has some great holes. I've played it many times. Tough golf course and a great finishing hole with the number 18th there to go for it on that second shot. Thank you, Robert Emmett. Thank you, Stephen Calamari. Thank you, Patrick Malone, the swing coaches here at Golf Tech in Metairie. So thank you for being with us. And until next week, get out and play some golf and take along a friend or two or three and make a foursome. We'll see you next week. Good night.
Let the games begin.